Hello, and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Front Mission 5, Scars of the War. So this is our third Wanzer Roundup, I believe, and we're going to start off with taking a look at the Recson, which we got a long time ago, but I have been neglecting for some reason, maybe because it's so bad. But let's learn a little bit about the background and the details of what exactly the Recson is. So the Recson was developed and sold by Diablo Avionics, and it is their signature sniper specialist model. Its predecessor was the Rexus, so this is actually a part of the Rexus series. The Rexus was first deployed and gained popularity during the Second Huffman conflict. And the Recson was developed as an official mass production model based on battle data collected from the Rexus's development. The Rexon's feet are equipped with 4 claws. So let's take a look. You can see these claws on its feet there. That can dig into the ground to provide superior stability and firing accuracy. And for this reason, the Recson is widely used by USN military sniper units. And finally, there actually is a continuity error with the Recson in Front Mission 5. It appears when, according to the other games, the Rexus was still being used and the Recson was in development. So you'll remember that when we got Jamie, we got his Recson along with him, but at that point in the continuity, the Recson still hadn't actually been released, according to the other games, specifically Front Mission Online. So he should have had a Rexus, but in fact he came with a Recson. And, you know, it's not a big deal. I guess they probably just didn't want to overly complicate the part progression in the game, but it is a small continuity error that was noted on the Tenmo page. Alright, so that is our look at the Recson. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Grille Sechs, as it is actually pronounced. I have a bit more to say about this model. So the name Grille Sechs actually means Cricket 6, but the Grille Sechs is the third model released in the Grille series by Schnecke, the German Wanzer manufacturer. Schnecke was the company that employed Dr. Landolt in the original development of the WAW, and therefore it was the company responsible for creating the foundations for the modern Wanzer. And that's why, of course, we have this weird German-ish word Wanzer, because the whole concept was originated in Germany, at least in this fictional continuity. And if you want to learn a little bit more about the WOWs, or the WAWs, go play Front Mission Alternative. It goes back to the very beginning of the Front Mission series timeline, and you can see some of these really early Wanzers that are much simpler, much less impressive looking, yeah, it definitely is a very different feel from the other Front Mission games. The Wanzers that we are using in this game are referred to as WAPs instead of WAWs, but I'm not really going to get into that very much, at least not here. Anyway, Schnecke got started in building, mining, forestry, and agriculture equipment manufacturing. And based on its long record of Wanzer development, Schnecke has been able to produce high-quality manipulators and auto-balancers, which has allowed it to establish a reputation as a first-rate manufacturer of arm and leg parts. It began developing and producing a full range of Wanzer parts in a joint venture with Diablo Avionics, but it was not able to compete at this level in the saturated arms manufacturing market, and in October 2102 began a manufacturing joint venture with Leonora Enterprises. So it's not really clear to me, based on at least my limited translation abilities, whether it quit its joint venture with Diablo Avionics or just started another joint venture with Leonora Enterprises. And it's really also not clear to me exactly what the cause was. It just sort of says that, it got caught up in a, kind of booming market. So, from what I understand of the functioning of market economies, or the functioning of capitalism, for the most part, when you have a booming market, even uncompetitive companies can make a marginal profit, at least if the rate of profit is equalized. Okay, I'm getting into my Capital Volume 3 knowledge here, but that is really neither here nor there. The whole point is that I just wasn't exactly sure why Schnecke had to start this joint venture with Leonora, but that's the best translation I could provide, so sorry about that. So furthermore, Schnecke's tanks are more expensive than those of other companies, but because of their high quality, they are often deployed by armies in many countries. And to get back to this Wanzer in particular, the Grille series was actually a successor to the Eagle, or Hedgehog series of Wanzers. The Eagle series was developed with gunnery in mind, and was equipped with actuators that featured high speed and response time thanks to high quality drivetrains. This allowed it to have both high mobility and accuracy. In addition, its shoulder joints were enlarged and strengthened to handle heavy weapons. Featuring an excellent overall balance of features and a stable reputation for fighting ability, it is beloved by many mercenaries used to fighting on the front lines. So you may recall that the Vilas X is actually used by Rudolph, the leader of the Centipede mercenary group in Front Mission 3, and I've tried to sort of replicate the look of his Vilas X here, although I don't actually have just a straight red camo pattern, so I had to go with this geometric pattern instead of the brilliant red that he usually uses. Because of its long production history and fire control and aiming systems quality, many models from the Eagle and Grille series have been deployed by the German Defense Forces. So I think this is kind of a reference to Front Mission 4, and you see it deployed by the German forces in that game, I believe. A special H series of Eagle and Grille models have also been produced with even higher quality drivetrains aimed at a market of ace sniper pilots. So that's one of the variants that you can get in this game, is the Grille Sechs H. And compared to the Eagle series, the Grille series saw an improvement in accuracy. So that was really the big step up there. If you want to see what the Eagle looked like, just go check out Front Mission 4, I think it's in that game. Okay, so that does it for our Wanzers, and now we can actually take a look at the Koden. So the Koden tank, which we just fought in the previous mission, it's the kanji used in its name. The first kanji in its name is like the ko is for steel. The quote-unquote Japanese pronunciation of the character is Hagane. You might be more familiar with that than the so-called Chinese pronunciation, which we see here. And then the second character that is used in its name is I believe it originally referred to a thread of silk, but it's also commonly used in the word Kouren, which means training. And I think the analogy that's drawn there is that like it's like a thread being passed from one person to another. However, there's another use that it has, which is in the word for wrought iron. It is used to modify the iron character. And the reason for that, I think, is because wrought iron has a grain to it, similar to wood, that you can see if you put it under stress. That's one of its material properties. So it may be kind of maybe similar in appearance to a thread. The thing what I'm trying to get at basically in this is that the word Koden doesn't actually mean anything in Japanese. It's more like they combine two characters to produce a certain connotation. And so it's a kind of neologism. And I think, you know, putting that steel and the, like, that thread character together, I guess you could say it maybe refers to, like, refined armor, or possibly like that reference to wrought iron might imply it's like heavy armor. It's not exactly clear to me what the implication is supposed to be, because I'm not a native speaker of Japanese, so I kind of miss out on these things from time to time. But, you know, that's my best attempt to try to give you a sense of what exactly Koden is referring to. Anyhow, this tank was developed by Kirishima Industries as a test unit for its Comparison Wave Defense Shield, or CWDS system, which you will see on other Kirishima units as well. And the CWDS is basically a multi-factor sensor system combining radar, communication systems, and audio sensors to provide information to the pilot. And it's from what I could understand from the entry on Tenmo, it is particularly useful for single pilot models of either, you know, helicopters, tanks, of course Wanzers are single pilot models. Just providing their pilot with more information. That's really the best I could get out of that. There's quite a lot of information on it up there, but it isn't kind of haphazardly organized. And of course, the Koden has the capacity to include a helicopter within itself, as we saw, and its body, its chassis I should say, is based on the J-10 particle cannon tank. Although it doesn't have a particle cannon itself, it just shares the same chassis with that tank. Okay, so that is it for our Wanzer Roundup for today. I hope you found that informative and interesting, and I will see you next time.